Alright, this is the chemistry review for the Unit 5 test on bonding and naming bonds. I'm skipping over the fill in the blank and the matching part. You guys can do that yourselves. The main thing I'm worried about is this part up here. Alright, so with the compounds, calcium carbonate, so the way it's going to work is for these types of compounds, this is an ionic bond. And what that means is that you're going to have metals and nonmetals that are switching their charge. So we have a calcium, which is 2 plus, and the carbonate, which is 2 minus. Because these charges cancel each other out, it just becomes CaCO3. And that's it. So to name them, it goes the exact same way. We just write sodium chloride. Now the way this works, we don't put in parentheses. We only do that on compounds that we don't know about, that we don't know the charge of. Alright, sulfuric acid, so the way this is going to go. The IC has two options. It can go back to IDE or ATE. Oh, yeah, no. Alright, so it can go back to IDE or ATE, one of the two. So, the way this works, if it goes back to IDE, you need to see hydro, alright? And ATE means no hydro. So since I don't see hydro here, it's going to be sulfurate, which is closely similar to which polyatomic ion class? SO4. So it's SO4, and then what's the charge on that? 2 minus. What do all acids have to have? An H. And it has a +1 charge. So you crisscross. This becomes H2SO4. And that's the end of it. Alright, sulfur hexafluoride. This is a covalent compound, so we deal with prefixes. Now, if I don't see anything out in front, a prefix out front, that means it has a subscript of 1. So I write down sulfur and then fluoride, and the hexa is 6. Refer back to your notes for the prefixes. It's going to be the same thing for carbon dioxide, so CO2. Alright, moving along. Alright, so this is the next part, 6 through 10. Aluminum oxide. Aluminum has what kind of a charge, guess? 3 plus, and oxide has a charge of what? 2 minus. So we crisscross, and it's Al2O3. And that's it. Alright, HNO2. So basically this is the way it goes. You ask yourself, whenever you see a H in front, that means it's going to be an acid. So whenever it is an acid, we just ignore this H, and we look at this right here. Now, if it's an element like this, HCl, it doesn't have oxygen, that means you're going to put hydro out front. But, because we have oxygen inside of here, this is a polyatomic ion that's called nitrite. And the endings that you're going to want to remember, ITE goes to OUS, and ATE/IDE goes to IC. That might just be something to review over and over in your mind until you get to the test and you write it straight down. So nitrite changes to OUS, so it becomes nitrous acid. Alright, aluminum sulfide. Basically, it's going to be the exact same as above, except in this case, it is now an S7O. Alright, NH42SO3. So this is the only, this guy right here is the only polyatomic ion that has a positive charge that you guys are expected to know about. NH4 is what? Ammonium. And then SO3 is what? Sulfite. It's very important on your test that you distinguish between ites and ates and ides, because I guarantee you they will have an example, or they will give you a problem, and your answer choices will be ammonium sulfite, ammonium sulfate, and then a couple other things. Okay? Ammonium carbide. That would be NH4 and then parentheses, this is a plus, and carbide is a 4 minus. So you crisscross, and this becomes NH4, parentheses 4, C. That 4 is attached to the NH4. It's bonded to that. It wants it there. Any questions so far? Alright, good to go. Let's look at the last little bit. Alright, last little bit. Barium iodide. Barium has what kind of a charge on it? +2, right? Iodide has what kind of a charge on it? -1, so it becomes BaI2. Alright, calcium hydroxide, so that's Ca2+, and OH-. Now, this is a polyatomic ion, which means I need to use parentheses. So, whenever I crisscross my charge, this becomes Ca, parentheses, OH, parentheses, 2. You guys notice that in your quiz, there's almost an exact copy of it. Alright? You need to put that parentheses around to keep that ratio up. Alright, 13, AgCl. What's Ag, guys? Silver. And then it's going to be chloride. Now, what's different about silver than all the other transition metals? You know the charge of it. Ag, Cd, and Zn all have a fixed charge. Silver's +1, Zn and Cd are both +2. Now, the other part of this that I want you all to remember is that In and Tl, and then Sn and Pb, these guys will exist as either a +1 or a +3. They don't have a fixed charge. And Sn and Pb will be +2 or +4. So those are those special cases that you need to remember for your test. HCl. So again, whenever we're naming stuff, do we see oxygen here? No. So we're going to write hydro, and then it's chloride, which changes to what? Hydrochloride changes to hydrochloric. So we get hydrochloric acid. Now what's special about HCl? It's in your, not in your lungs, that means you die. Your stomach. There you go. I hope it's not in your food, otherwise you die too. Alright. So, that being said, for your test tomorrow, you need to know about these special cases as well as those three right here. The other part that you need to know about is you need to know the prefixes. So, di, tri, tetra. Alright, prefixes, naming acids, and then when to distinguish between an acid, a molecular compound, and an ionic compound. And then, let's see, what else am I not forgetting? Not forgetting. So that's pretty much it. I mean, pretty much everything we've been doing over the past week and a half of just naming stuff, that's all it is. That's all you're doing for this for this test. Okay, it's 40 questions. Should be pretty easy, I hope. Okay? So, see you guys tomorrow.